How to recession-proof your household. Pretty provocative name, right? I know. Let's jump into it. Clarity is the number one thing you need to be aware of. When you have clarity, you reduce your anxiety. When you have clarity, you reduce being hard on yourself. I don't know if you're the same way, but when I go through a large sum of money, whether it's investing in construction, purchasing a property, some expenses, perhaps debt, I'm still very hard on myself. I'm like, what? Spent that amount of money in that amount of time? So if you have clarity, however, you could go back, see your records, see, okay, well, it's not like I went to Vegas and spent it on, drinks at the bar or something for $20,000. Like shots. Absolutely no return there. So clarity is the first thing you want to keep your eyes on. And related to that, I'm going to give you a resource to help you with that. So I have a spreadsheet that helps me track short-term expenses, long-term expenses, more immediate 1 to 5 day mark, things that are going on. Because again, I don't know about you, but I could easily lose track of how many payments I make across all my properties. And if a lot of them are ACH transfers, perhaps not debit cards or credit cards, payments like a bill or something, then all those ACHs, especially if they're auto drafted, hitting all at once in one account could be like, what? But if you have that kind of marker system, it won't be as dramatic. So I'll share that resource with you. Just hit the link below if you're interested in that. And let's jump into point number 2. All right, point number 2, be proactive. So if you're not communicating with yourself and of course secondarily your spouse about what's going on, then you're just kind of setting yourself up for failure. You don't want to be at the day of a bill being past due and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, I didn't give you a heads up on this. So there's no way we could plan around it. So be proactive about that. In some cases, you might have to be reactive and do that right now, because if you're not being real with yourself or your spouse, then you're just setting yourself up again for failure. The communication layer, it can be scary for a man. And I've been through this during valleys in my past. As a man, it's very strange to say, hey, wifey, I got this thing I didn't really foresee. And so as a provider, right, as a protector of the house, you're like, do I have to share this? But in a odd way, it actually draws you closer together to be transparent about what's really going on. So I encourage you to have that courage to say that to your spouse, if you're a man especially, because if they're a healthy spouse and you're not some jerk face that's a toxic human being, they'll be like, okay, I understand. We all make mistakes. What can we do to plan ahead? And what can we do from here? Which brings me to the last point. Point number 3, act. If you're not acting on all these things I just mentioned, creating that spreadsheet, creating a communication plan, creating a day-by-day, month-by-month plan, your budget. And when I think of budget, by the way, I'm not thinking about just what could I save today? I'm thinking about what is going to be meaningful today? What's going to be meaningful within a week? Am I spending money on this app that brings me nothing of value? Am I selling this bike I've had laying around the house that I'm never going to use because now I got a stationary bike? Those are the sorts of real conversations you have to have with yourself and act on them. And I'm doing that myself too. Cut unnecessary expenses, of course. Everything else, create basically a priority system. So of course, urgent things that are really nice that you have monthly recurring bills for, like I mentioned, an app that may be useful to you. But in a pinch, having that listed as something that's urgent rather than required, like a mortgage, is useful. Because God forbid you do lose your job and you have all these expenses mounting, you want to be able to quickly know what you could cut. Prioritize the rest. Of course, I just mentioned that. And then what about investing? So of course, if you find a cheap real estate deal, purchase it. If if you have the capital, savings, if you know the strategy, the education around it, I encourage that too. Unfortunately, there's not too many people that make a path of getting education ahead of time. It's kind of more of a reactionary thing. But I encourage you right now, when I feel like a recession is underway, to go ahead and start that education process so that within 3 to 6 months you are well versed on what to do. And you may not be as heavy on the action side as I am. I'm a type of guy that analyzes deals pretty quickly and could move pretty quickly, especially if the capital is lined up. But the average person may not be that guy or that gal. So be real with your own states around investing too, right? You don't want to sign up for something that perhaps you're not a good landlord. You're not patient with the people. Perhaps you only want to do fix and flips. Being able to identify that ahead of time is huge, instead of just trying to force your type of investment because some coach is telling you this is the best way to do it. So be real with yourself on that. And then also, to diversify, invest in some other recession-proof businesses. Some of you that follow my social media, I had this domain name called christianlayers.com for like 7 years, and I didn't do anything with it. I finally did a Christian clothing shop there, slowly doing some work to market that. But another thing I realized the other day was, wow, as this economy is slowing down, my contractors are calling me more often saying, hey Ivan, you got some work for me? And I'm like, inevitably, I only have 90, well, let me rephrase this. 90% of my work goes to one guy because he's one of those amazing jack of all trades guy. Some of you may have met him, Leo. He's amazing, and he handles the bulk of it. So these other guys, these other crews that I need just a few times a year, I can't really help them. So I got to realizing and talking with God, oh wait, I have friends that occasionally do hit me up for needing kitchen, bathroom, whatever X renovations, even leaks fixing, all that stuff. And I'm just missing an opportunity there to help people make money and also get good results, because there's quality workers out there that are not being connected to quality people that need work done. So that's something else that's going to be coming up soon. So I encourage you also to be like, what's in my wheelhouse that is an opportunity to drive some revenues, to create some savings that I might have not otherwise had. That's the sort of stuff you need to be considering in this sort of economy. And so I hope this stuff helps you. And to wrap it up, I do want to say there's going to be a lot of fear around this. Of course, when the economy is going down, there's going to be a lot of emotional states. Let yourself feel through those healthily, not just go bash someone over the head, and really get your education up, being mindful of how to work through those emotions. And I'll share more of those mindset type things in my other channel that's more appropriate for that, which is the From Pain to Gain channel. But this is more of the investment side, right? Common Walk. So I just wanted to share those details with you, and I hope you have an amazing week. It's a beautiful Monday. We got some sunlight going, and I'll see you in the next video.